Let's go.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with Kev to discuss. I don't know where we start at the moment with discussing Aston Villa, but we're going to try and go through the part of the Wolves game, which is a systematic breakdown of some of the players that's happening. I think it's symptomatic of where Aston Villa are at the moment. And I also want to talk about the manager. I think the lighting in Kev's room is also systematic of what's going on at the moment as well. Maybe that's his crystal ball that he's getting to predict the future of Villa's season at the moment, or he's maybe just watching the world go round because might as well do that at the minute rather than watch Villa. But yeah, I want to go through a few things about the general way that Villa are playing at the moment and what is happening and how bad it is at the minute. I want to talk about specific players and their reactions and what they're doing or not doing. And then I want to talk about the manager, because there has to be some responsibility, some criticism laying at the manager's door at the minute. So, Kev, how are you? Good to see you.
Hello, Rich. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you, albeit in slightly more somber, sad times. I think I have had 3 sort of real stints on the pod this season. Normally, obviously, I was back in the down a lot more, so I do miss everybody. I just work a lot in the nights now. It's just hard, with the grind of trying to, pay the bills and all that. But I remember starting the season doing a couple of this season, are we ever going to win a game? Are we ever going to score a goal? Then there was we're going to win the league. We're going to win the league. And now there's will we ever win a game again? And it's just a proper topsy-turvy season. And yeah, mate, I'm not afraid to front it up when we've had a stinker. I'm not afraid to obviously front it up when we've done really well, because obviously that's easy. But this is it's a much needed chat. It definitely is an emergency meeting. Lots to discuss. It's not all horrendous, but it feels as close to horrendous as it can based on where we were a few weeks ago. So
yeah,
let's get into it.
Please, we've got nearly, we have over 50 already in the chat. So please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're very, very close to 7,000 subscribers. I know I've got 6,500 there, but we were about 150 away from 7,000. So please do, now we're back. Please do help us continue to grow. And like and subscribe to the channel and keep your comments flowing. I will get through as many as I can. I'll put them on the stage as we're going as well, but I'll get through as many. I do want to talk general Villa, then players, then Emery. So I'll try and star as many as I can that will touch on those subjects. But at the minute for me, and I said before the last couple of shows that we've done, Kev, that almost Villa, the last 4 or 5 games has been copy and paste performances. You have Everton, you have Brentford, you have Leeds, you have even Bournemouth to an extent, Brighton as well, even though we got a win. It's kind of just copy and paste performances, same way of playing, same structure, but with worse players and hoping that we're going to get through it. And I spoke to Brad the other day about, if we're trying to do the same things with worse players, then we're going to get poorer results, and that's exactly what's happening. Why aren't we going sort of a 4-4-2 or just changing it up a little bit with Tammy up front? But and I'll talk players and that later. But that's what I was thinking about, that with copy and paste performances. But then you fast forward from those 4 or 5 games to Friday night. And not only do you have the same way of playing, but you have a Wolves team that are bottom of the league, one of the worst teams in the Premier League history, can't win a game. You have them. We know that they treat this game as a local derby. We know that we've not had good results at Molinueux. But not only that, but they outfight us, they outthink us, they're hungrier for the ball, there's more desire, they're up for the fight, they're adapting to the conditions. Just everything was just better than in terms of attitude, even in terms of quality, was better than Aston Villa. And it was just an utterly despicable performance. Utterly despicable. I'm still seething at what I saw. We just relaxing, trying to play as if we're this controlled team, and we're above everything, and we are going to score at some point. It's an inevitability, and you could see what was coming a mile off. You could see what was coming a mile off. The wrong attitude, the wrong approach, the wrong team. Just everything was just off, and they got exactly what they deserved, and that was nothing. Absolutely disgraceful performance.
Yep. Thanks all. See you later. Have a good week. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what is it? I know I've done a rant there. But what's it down to? What the general apathy with Villa at the moment? What is it down to?
It's baffling, mate. It really is baffling, because I look at this from a number of different views. I mean, the Wolves were basically like your camera, and Villa were like my camera, you know. And I'm on my laptop, by the way, rather than my webcam. So
it looks fine, mate. It looks fine.
Okay, good. Yeah, it makes me look a bit murky, like our form. Do you know what? Like, I've had so many thoughts about this. I've done a bit of driving today, kids football and seeing family and stuff, and been a lot alone in my car with my thoughts a lot, thinking, what's going on? What's happening with the Villa? Like, it consumes us, doesn't it, as fans? Because it's the hope that kills you. And a few weeks ago, we were looking up, and now I'm worried about fucking Brentford overtaking us. So, obviously, we're missing key players. You know, Yuri Tielemans, Boubacar Kamara, John McGinn. But we've got a squad that is more than those three players, and that squad needs to be good enough to get results against even the decent teams at times if you need to dig in, let alone Brentford at home, Everton at home, Leeds at home, and one of the worst teams in Premier League history away. Now, you can mitigate it by saying Wolves have had an upturn in performances under Rob Edwards, and have had some decent results in terms of, you know, fighting performances. And it's difficult at Molinueux. But the thing for me is, we just look devoid of ideas. And I don't want to be that guy, because obviously I'm generally uber positive, and I think there's still a lot of positives, a lot of things to play for. And we've been in bad spells before, and we've got out of them, right? We've got out of a massive funk at the start of the season when we couldn't score for 5 games, couldn't beat anybody. And we went on an 11-game winning run, was it 17 out of 19 or 15 out of 17? Something ridiculous, right? Some crazy run. So we know we can do it. But it just feels like right now that we've got zero plan what we're going to do. And we've all seen it as a fan base for so long now. Change this, try something else. So we've still got things we could try, and we're not trying it. And right now, we are the definition of insanity. We're doing the same thing over and over again, playing Buendia, playing Watkins instead of Abraham, playing Dino instead of Matson. We're doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And I think teams have worked us out a little bit. And all you need then is you need players that normally perform well, like a Morgan Rogers, to have a couple of off weeks, and you're done in. And then you add into the mix of that we've had to bring in, for financial reasons, we've had to bring in a player that couldn't get in Forest's team. I loved Douglas Luiz 2 years ago. I think it was fantastic, but he's had a massive drop-off then. He couldn't get in a relegation fight team. And Bailey, who couldn't get in the Roma team. And we've let Daniel Marlin go, who scores every time he touches the ball, basically, at the moment. And that maybe heightens the situation, and maybe he's on a purple patch himself. But you compare it to last year when we brought in, when seemingly we were in worse financial straits and we brought in Asensio and Rashford. It's just a combination of factors right now that are making it a really glum time. And the only glimmer of hope we've had is that the most boring potential Premier League champions ever, Corners FC, have managed to beat Chelsea, because that's the only glimmer of hope we've had this weekend. That's the only good news you've had football wise.
Yeah, it's just that again, relying on and hoping on other teams and other teams' results, and it's just in pot. I hate that attitude. I just can't bear it. But the other thing is, and Rich in the comments, I'm starring some, but he's made this is the exact point I was going to make, right? And you're right to mention that the winning run, which was brilliant, but obviously that was preceded by a terrible run at the start of the season where we didn't even look like scoring, we didn't even look like shooting, let alone scoring or winning the game. But in that 11 game winning run, can anyone say we played brilliantly? Which games did we play brilliant in? Because this is what I was thinking yesterday. If I really think about it, we've probably played well in 4 games this season, right? That's probably Bournemouth at home and Forest at home, where you probably say we were the better team for a large proportion of that game. Man City at home, obviously, good win, hard-working win, underdog performance, and Arsenal at home. Newcastle away. So you're probably saying, maybe take Forest out of that, you're probably saying 4 games where we've played well. Every other game has been nip and tuck, has been changes that have had to be made midway through a game or at half time, or it's been, as we've had other managers talk about, moments of magic. And I don't want to discount those games. I don't want to discount those wins, but it makes all those pundits, all those XG accounts, and this is what pisses me off, it makes them look right, because they all said that the chickens would come home to roost. Villa are getting by the skin of their teeth in these games and not particularly playing well. And now those chickens are coming home to roost. If you can tell me any other games this season where we've played well, then I'll happily admit defeat. But I can think 4 games this season where we've really played well, and that's it.
I remember thinking during that run, this cannot be sustained, not because of the XG, not because of the Worldies FC, because how are we getting over the line with some of these games? And Brighton, I thought we played pretty well in the Brighton game. There was this period in the middle of that game I thought we were great. Obviously, when we went from 2-0 to 4-2 up, right? We can't fault that. But I agree with the point that Rich Grover makes and the point that you make. It was despite rather than because, wasn't it? And maybe that momentum gets you somewhere and you get on a bit of a win. And the players, when it's 1-1, then you start to believe the hype around we can bring the most points to the table from losing positions. But really, when you think about this early Unai Emery era, there were times when we were blowing teams away. That very first game, Man United, early quick start, 2-0 up before you know it, beating them 3-1 never happened. You know, there was a 6-1 Brighton, there was the 4-1 West Ham, there was a number of games where I have almost felt even more convincing away performances, like proper battling away performances. At the moment, our away performances, we've got some great wins. Chelsea absolutely battered us for 65 minutes, whatever it was. Yeah, Leeds, where we thought they were lucky against us, obviously,
West Ham, we didn't play well.
West Ham, we somehow got a 3-2, didn't we, against the team?
Tottenham, we didn't play particularly well.
Yeah, it's true. And what do you put that down to? Is it a change of system? Is it a change of style? We used to have that high line at first, and obviously that kind of got found out. So we've obviously gone away from that. But you know what it is at the moment with Villa? It pains me to say, it's just fucking boring. We're just boring to watch. Like if Rodgers isn't on it, who does what? Who does what? I mean, we're not. The wide players aren't doing anything. Watkins doesn't do anything. I'm not seeing Torres doing his raking balls like he used to, marching through the middle and setting people up. I just think we're really predictable. And if you can nullify Morgan Rodgers and double up on him, you're not really going to get a huge amount. I think Sancho is greater than Bailey at the moment. I think he looks like he's got a bit more life in him, but I don't think his end product is great.
Any pace?
He's got no pace and he's got no end product.
Yeah. So we're actually naturally moving into the next point, but where I'm going to go through probably 4 or 5 specific players, but you can maybe add a few in if you want to as well.
Okay.
But just before we get into that, is there an air of a few of the players chucking it in? Like, and just let me just contextualize this, because I've been listening to a few Newcastle podcasts. Obviously, they had a bad result against Everton. and they've kind of turned it on in the cup competitions, been really disappointed in the league. And apparently there's like insiders at the club have said that they don't actually want to qualify for the Conference League. And they're sort of putting their eggs in all in the one basket with regards to, you know, cup competitions. On a Villa perspective, I'm thinking like, are there a few rumblings about players not going to be there next season? Like, you know, it's getting a bit tough now. The players injured. The attitudes are sort of starting to fray at the seams a bit, whether that be a Watkins that people have said in the chat, whether that be an Onana who's had interviews where he's talks about moving on to a world-class club, whether it be Rodgers who, you know, was unsettled before with talks about different clubs, whether it's a Tielemans who's not yet negotiated a new contract. Yes, I know he's injured. Whether it's a Torres who's been in and out of the team, and Mings has been playing ahead of him, where it's Martinez who we all know is probably going to leave at the end of the season. Are there a few players that are thinking, I don't quite fancy this fight at the minute?
I mean, potentially. I mean, who knows what they're thinking, right? And you'd like to think no matter what happens, you know, we are so far so good in terms of like the last few months to think that we are in for a real shout for Champions League, which is looking serious under threat right now. And if it's not Champions League, I still think we'd certainly want Europa League or Conference League. I think they'd want that no matter what, the club to stay in Europe. So I don't see them not wanting to achieve that and chucking that in terms of the almost them not having the fight because they're not bothered about Villa beyond the end of June. I don't know, but something don't seem right. And do you know what it is for me? It goes back to this point, which I can't shake this now, Rich. I can't shake it. Is that when we need to win a game, we don't do it? Okay, yeah. You can argue. Well, hang on a minute, Kev. We needed to beat Arsenal, didn't we, to put ourselves in the title race, and we got a last-minute winner. And I was in the hole, and it was great and amazing. But you know what I mean? When there's a game where it kind of you're like before it, hang on a minute. If we can win this one, oh, hang on a minute, Kev. We won 11 in a row. So you get my point. When it's a Crystal Palace,
Crystal Palace
semi-final. When it's an Olympiacos
semi-final, it's a Man United to get in the Champions League. It's a Sheffield United to go top of the league at Christmas.
It's the start of February thinking, oh my God, we've got Brentford and Everton at home. I mean, we might as well play the dog and the duck and the old swan at home, right? Then you've got the worst team in the league away. You've got Leeds at home. You've got Brighton at home. You couldn't, for a Champions League aspiring team, write a better script for February. You couldn't. And we've got, I mean, how we beat Brighton, I don't know, right? We did, fair play, take the points, but we got 4 points from that 15. And look, Man United all of a sudden go on this. They look like the Man United of old in terms of belief and winning games. And it's Liverpool have inevitably picked up form. It was going to happen, but the drop off. I think Gary put it in the comments earlier. I think it was Gary Howlett put it in there. Like, how does a team that won 11 in a row also have 2 spells like the start of the season, and now that inconsistency? There is a fragility and a brittle nature to this team that, when you know what. It's all well and good when it's good, enjoying it, but when it's tough, you got to be able to dig in. And I'm not saying we haven't dug in for results at points this season. I'm not questioning the players in terms of their effort. I'm just saying it looks like at the moment that these teams fancy it a bit more than us. And we've got players also that haven't played that much football, so you can't be using fatigue. I don't think if you're a Bailey. If you're a Louise, he's not played that much this season. We've rotated the left back spots. Onana hasn't played loads compared to
they're getting full weeks off at the minute as well.
Absolutely, but also, does it help? Let's be clear. I'm sure the squad can see right now that Watkins has been great for the club, and I'm not saying his Villa career. You know, I'm sure he's got loads more to give. But we'll come on to him yet. But I'm saying, do you think the squad? Do you think that? I'll make the general point. We won't go into specifics. Do you think the squad are thinking, hang on a minute, Gaffer, you got to change some of this because we're struggling a little bit and there's players not in form. We need a bit of help. Do you think they're feeling that pressure themselves?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There'll be rumblings in the dressing room. There'll be people who aren't getting in the team who are sitting on the bench thinking, I'm better than him or better than them. Why aren't I getting a chance? Well, yeah. And that only gets louder when you're not winning. Of course, they're not best friends. These players aren't best friends. They're in competition with each other. Yes, they're teammates, but of course. I mean, Tammy Abraham's got every right to be pissed off at the minute. Like, why has he joined the club? but we'll get on to that in a second, because we're going to talk Watkins 100%. But just a few comments coming in. The boys from every week we follow. It's stale. It's going mouldy at the minute. It's just about usable for toast for any longer, and it's mouldy. I think that's relating to us. David says, I think what annoys me most is when the players screw up, they show no emotion that they made a mistake. It's like they stroll around and make bad-hearted tries and collect their weekly check. 100%. Make sure you subscribe as well to these boys. Feels like some of the players maybe know they aren't going to be here, or know we aren't going to be able to strengthen when we're done. Absolutely. A Villa fan 7 says, can I just put a quick stat in here? We spent nearly 80 million on young prospect signings we made over the last year and a half. I do want to talk about that as well, and we're obviously going to talk the manager and all of that as well. Lots on the recruitment. Few people we'll talk Wednesday a little bit as well. Shareek's in there having a discussion with Kevin, which is great. CC said, I have wondered of late if the players are overcoached. They look tired mentally and physically. There's a potential for that, but still, like, there has to come a time when players need to take the responsibility on the pitch and do something. And that's not happening at the moment. So, but yeah, I do agree with that to an extent as well, Kev. What you said, what you just said before, because it's just so difficult to put your finger on what's happening. And yes, there has to be some, like, not fancying his tactics, or he shouldn't be playing, or I said in our group chat, this player's probably not trusting certain players on the ball. And let's start with the sort of discussion about certain players and their performances, and particularly from Friday night. And it's to varying degrees with this, but with Ollie Watkins, I can't watch him at the moment. And it's almost the point of, I actually feel a little bit sorry for him that he keeps being wheeled out, because it is literally, we're playing with 10 men. He can't run. He can't hold up the ball. He takes 3 touches before he decides to pass it. He doesn't look like getting into an opportunity to score a goal. Like he always used to be, like, oh, he's getting in the positions where he can score, but he's not even doing that at the minute. I'm actually the point of, I feel sorry for him that he's actually been wheeled out onto the pitch.
Yeah, I also feel as well with Ollie, like, I don't think we're creating that many chances. So now, you know what it's like, if you're only going to get, it feels like at the moment with Ollie, like he's a non-league team against the Premier League team in the Cup. Like, you might only get 2 chances, you got to take them. Whereas he's not going to get maybe the level of chances that Haaland's getting, or another team who create more, getting with more offensive players. We've got some offensive players at the moment, but not in that sense.
Yeah.
So therefore, when he takes that one where he should be shooting on his left foot, and when, the other day when he had that pretty limp shot, it's like that could be his only chance in the game. And the reason why you buy another striker who looks like he's in some decent form, he would have been 3 if that one hadn't been harshly ruled out for offside or foul, whatever it was. Just take him out of the firing line. You don't have to be so wedded to Watkins to say, give him a week off, bring him off the bench when he's been quite effective a couple of times this season, and get his confidence back. I think Unai walks on water, but he cannot be beyond criticism, even from me and even from other fans that think he's an absolute messiah. I still think he's done a phenomenal job, and no other manager could do what he's done with where we were to where we are now, where we are absolutely panicked about getting Champions League, but we are 4th in March. I mean, it's staggering, but we're about to potentially balls up an unbelievable opportunity, which could sustain the club, keep players with the club, and give us this opportunity for the future. So he cannot be beyond reproach. There's an easy decision here. Every fan, unless it's the most diehard Watkins fan, is just saying, not we hate him, not he's not terrible, because he's done some fantastic, been a huge part of us getting where we've got to, Oliver Watkins. Just give him a couple of weeks out of the starting lineup, and for goodness sake, start Ross Barkley, because Douglas Luiz are doing it. And what's Buendia still doing? Getting a start? Try something else. Like,
we're going to come on to him, believe me. But yeah, like I said just before, like Tammy Abraham, I mean, he didn't do much against Wolves because he didn't have the opportunity to. Like, he had 10 to 15 minutes, and then we lump him balls up when we're in desperation station. Surely to God, if Unai thinks at the minute that Watkins does more of the pressing, or in his mind, in his head, I'm talking about in Unai's head, right? Because we all know he's not doing the pressing. But if he thinks in his head that Unai knows, that Ollie Watkins knows the movements that Villa need to be in, he knows the set plays that Villa need to be in, and where he needs to be in certain positions better than Tammy Abraham does, then I'm sorry, but he needs his head looking at, because Tammy I know he can do those things, because in 15 minutes against Newcastle, he did more than Ollie Watkins has done in probably 75% of these games this season. And also, the same set moves aren't working. So you've got to try something different. Putting Tammy Abraham up front is going to unsettle defenders. He's also going to be up for it. So even if you try 60, 70 minutes of Tammy Abraham up front, and then you bring on Ollie Watkins for 15 to 20 minutes to kind of go back to type and go back to the plan, surely that is going to unsettle the team more than just playing Ollie Watkins and playing the same way that we've done before. And he's doing his job, I mean, 80% worse than what he has done in the past. Honestly, it's hurting my eyes to watch it. It is embarrassing at the minute. It's embarrassing.
And when we break forward, and you've got, at the moment, you say you've got a Bailey and a Buendia and a Watkins and an out-of-form Rodgers, I don't think these are the teams that are too bothered about it, really. I mean, yeah, we're not getting a bit of luck and it could be bouncing for us, but if that's what you're relying on, if you're relying on other teams to lose and the ball luckily bouncing in the box, we're not creating that many chances. It's not like we can say, like we said earlier, that there's games when we're really in it and we've been really unlucky. I think you'd say those teams that are around the relegation zone would feel they were lucky to not get something from Villa. And yeah, you know what? Brentford and Everton had to battle for their wins, but they're at Villa Park. The team that 4 or 5 weeks ago had the best home form in Europe across the last couple of years, out of all of the European giants. How does it turn off so quickly? There is a sense for me around the that's got to be a mentality thing. It really has. It's got to be a mentality thing. And I don't think it's helped with, obviously, we're not been able to strengthen the squad. We can't bring in a Semenyo and Gueye. We can't bring in an Mbeumo and Cunha and Sesko like, Man United did in the summer. But we've still got this squad. This is the thing I think is this argument. Yeah, I believe PSR is an absolute crock of shit and it's horrendous and it's not fair for the teams that can't strengthen. But hang on a minute. We were absolutely buzzing about this squad a few weeks ago and we've lost 3 players. 2 of them aren't out for that long. Couple of months obviously is critical time for us, but it's not that they're at their season ending. We were saying then we were just a 3-person team. Is that what we were? Of course we weren't. And of course it's massive. And of course if Arsenal lost a Rice and a Zubamendi and a Saliba, whatever it might be, and we can see the examples out there of other big teams. If Fernandez and Cunha were out and out the team for United, it'd be a struggle. But we've got to be good enough to at least get more than we're getting right now. And the problem is for us, but it also might be a blessing, is that when I looked at that run at the start of the season and I thought, my God, we've got Sunderland, we've got Everton, we had Brentford, we had Newcastle at home, and I think we had Palace at home. Like, we're gonna be getting 12 points at least there. And we obviously got 0, was it 1 or 2 or 2 or whatever. We didn't expect we were going to get the wins that we got, and it would be just like this team to go out and, right now I can't even see us getting no points against Chelsea and Man United the way we're playing. I think we'll be lucky to come out of that game without having -2 taken off us. But it would be also just like this team under this manager to we'll be sat on a podcast in 2 weeks going, my God, we took 6 points from United and Chelsea. It doesn't feel like it right now. I feel like I'm mental saying that, but you know what I'm saying. You get the point. We've taken things in the past where we've done really well, but do we have the confidence to say that? No, I'm saying that out of blind optimism, hoping at some point it has to be arrested. Right. Really, confidence-wise,
we ain't gonna happen with Ollie Watkins up front. You can say that now, and then and moving on to the next player, you did mention him. I'm almost at the point where I'm going to retract my apology that I did earlier on this season, because I know he scored some key goals for us, and he scored a great goal against Newcastle a few weeks ago. But Emery Buendia has been absolutely atrocious the last few games. Yeah, he's reverted to type in terms of not being able to pass the ball, making the wrong decisions every time, fouling, constantly falling over on the floor, asking for fouls, falling over on the floor, asking for foul while the other team's going on the attack. I mean, that must be so annoying as a teammate as well, when you're trying to get back into position and defending, and he's still lying on the floor complaining to the referee. Just trying to get into physical battles with players when he knows that he's not strong enough. I don't know what has happened to him, and he just has not got the pace to play in those wider positions as well. He can't do it.
And also,
again, why are we playing? Why are we doing it? Why are we playing him?
And also, when he gets subbed off, he's like so annoyed. Like, have you not just experienced what you did for the last 65, 70 minutes? What gets me is, why is he not off at half time? You know, Emery's got some phenomenal skills as a manager, but I do think he could be braver. And I think there's been a number of times in the last month when I'm sure a lot of Villa fans would agree with this. Let me know in the comments if you disagree. That I wouldn't have been unhappy with 2 or 3 half-time changes in some of those games. And yet it's the same thing, isn't it? What, maybe 70, 75 minutes, 80 minutes sometimes, when we can see that nothing's changing. In fact, we've got worse after half-time. We certainly did against Wolves. Buendia, my God, he's going to give you the odd worldie. And he has actually, during that spell, contributed fantastically. And if we get to the end of the season and we've got Champions League, or we win the Europa League or whatever, which feels far away right now with the form, you'll be grateful for what he contributed. But right now, in this team, he's doing little to nothing. Yeah, there's no pace. He's not strong enough. He's not creating enough. I like the fact he tries stuff, but it seems at the moment that nothing's working. Nothing. And then we will come on to the Luizes and the Baileys, but if you've got him, you've brought him back into the fold when he'd been decided he wasn't good enough. It was decided that Bailey wasn't good enough. It was decided that Luiz wasn't good enough. It was decided in some ways that Watkins probably wasn't good enough because of the Rashfords and the Abrahams and stuff like that. And here we are, and this is what we're working with. It's a hell of a battle. It's a hell of a battle. Do you think Buendia, like, he should be coming on maybe for 10, 15 minutes here and there, starting the odd game, maybe, you know, a Europa League group game. He's starting every week now. And if you're on that bench, I know there's not loads of options on that bench, but there's other things he could be doing. There's other things he could be doing in this team. He could be playing two up top.
Rodgers out on the left.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we'll come to some comments.
You could play Bogard, play Luiz further forward. You could play obviously Ross Barkley, who I think should start at the moment with the injuries we've got. You could be playing 2 up top. You could be brave and play that. I know it's not his style. I wouldn't mind this at the moment, just going a bit more direct.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Why are you playing the same way, trying to play through the lines with worse players that can't do it?
Yeah, go direct.
Luiz can't do it. We know he can't do it. We know he's a controlled possession, control to dictate the pace of the game. He's not a fast, quick passer through the lines. We know this. Why are you trying to get him to do it? I can't. It's just baffling me at the minute. Alex says Buendia and Watkins should only be impact subs. I agree. Buendia spent more time on the floor than a carpet, says standing on the word. He has red card walking and rolling around like he did before, not a starter, says Gary. Absolutely. I mean, lots of people talk about the recruitment, but we will come to that definitely. Stephen said Emery is stubborn for his plan to work, it seems sometimes. 100%. So yeah, I mean, Buendia just. Oh yeah, Allison could play. I know he's been injured. I don't know what the hell has been happening with him. Like, surely he should be fit enough for the bench. He's only coming on for 5 to 10 minutes. Like, that's just a weird situation. So you could play Allison as well. You're not going to do any worse than Emi Buendia. I mean, he's not absolutely terrible. And then
Rich was going to say, would Ben Broggio be doing any worse than Emi Buendia? Would Caden Young be doing any worse? Would Jimadine Aloba be doing any worse?
Exactly. We shipped him out to West Brom. I mean, what a great loan move that's been for the poor kid, going through a relegation battle down to League One, and the manager who took him in has just been sacked. I mean, that was a great decision to send him out on loan. He'd literally just scored the winning goal in the Europa League. He could have come on and contributed. Absolute ridiculous decision by the club. Horrendous decision. horrendous decision. Then you go into the midfield, and I wasn't actually going to talk too much about Douglas Luiz because I've done that to death. Like I knew what was going to happen. I said it on this podcast. I said it a few weeks ago. I said, this is what will happen. He'll have 2 good games, and then he'll revert back to the Douglas Luiz that we all know. And he does exactly what's happened. He doesn't tackle. He's too easy to run past. He's too slow. He plays his own game too often. He doesn't listen to what Unai Emery wants him to do. And this is what happens. But the one for me that has been the most disappointing is Amadou Onana.
I was just going to say Onana, and Kevin James put it in the comments. I feel like Onana's not fit, and I feel like he's not like maybe injured. He's just almost just not. There's something going on. It's maybe a niggle, whatever. Because
maybe
don't
play him then. Don't play him.
But the problem is he's got a midfield injury crisis. Maybe he's feeling like he needs to play him for the physicality. But do you know what I mean? The level of performance he put in at Newcastle away and other games this season, when it wasn't that long ago we were saying, my God, we've had a steal at 50 million the way Onana's playing. He's pumping his fist to the crowd. His drop off has been so bad. I just think that is he not fit? And that's just my take on it. And I know what you mean. Don't play him.
He's having more rest between games. He took a battering against Newcastle, but he's not even running for. Like there was one point in the second half against Wolves where someone I think a Wolves player did a loose touch, and it went across the front of Onana, and he just watched it go by him. He didn't even try and get the ball. So yeah, I take your point that I think Kev said he's playing within himself, right? And that's probably more a fitness issue. Oh, am I back?
Yeah, you're back there. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, sorry, I just lost this for a second. Yeah, sorry, I'm just saying, with Onana, I think he's playing within himself, and that's I think that's an Amadou Onana issue rather than an actual fitness issue. We know that there's, players are different, right? You get the impression that John McGinn would play through a broken leg, right? But you know fine well that Amadou Onana won't do that. He'll be a player who wants to be peak physical condition to do the most. So he'll do a bit, he'll show a bit, but he won't give his all because he knows he doesn't really want to get injured. And also, he's done that interview, and I don't know whether it was lost in translation. I don't know if it was kind of unintended in terms of what he said, but to even bring in, I feel like I'll be ready for a world-class club at one point in my career, that doesn't sound good to me. And since, whether it's coincidence or not, but since that interview, he just hasn't put it in. Yeah, and I was expecting him to lead this team to Champions League. That's what I was expecting from him. If you get injured, we'll deal with it. He could have got us 3 points or 6 points, and then that would have been right. Brilliant, thanks, Amadou. You've done your job. But playing 60%, it's not doing us any favors right now. So I'm so disappointed in him. I'm so disappointed. He's been awful. He's been a waste of a position. He's hiding. He's not driving with the ball. He's not tackling. He's not doing anything. He's terrible.
Yeah, it's been the midfield at the moment is a massive issue, isn't it? It's just what's there. Nothing creatively, defensively. It just feels like it looks like a really weak midfield. It looks like a bottom six midfield at the moment. It just looks like confidence-wise, ability-wise, where's the creativity? Where's the marauding runs? Where's the cutting through balls? Are we just going to say? I mean, I think someone said in the comments earlier, if you're Yuri and Boubacar and John, you must be thinking, crikey, we are pretty special. I want some more cash from this club because without us, it all crumbles. It's it's disappointing. He needs to really come to the fore now, and he needs to start Wednesday night because we need him. He's our standout midfielder, age-wise, profile-wise, size, physicality, and this should be his time to shine. You want that big club move. If Aston Villa isn't big enough for you, go and perform now until the end of May and show us what you're all about.
Yeah. Rich said he wishes I wouldn't sit on the fence so much. I'm still seething. I'm still seething about that performance. Sometimes you can take defeats and things like that because these type of things happen, but it seems to happen every season against Wolves at their ground, and just the attitude and the demeanour of the players. You could tell within the first 30 seconds of the game that we weren't going to do anything in that game. You could tell it was just all wrong from the off, and so much of it is driven by the attitudes of these players. And it was a disgrace. It was an absolute disgrace. And the final player that I wanted to focus on is Emery Konsa. I thought we'd passed this kind of immaturity with Emery, where in the past, where when we've conceded goals, he's been wise after the event. He's had a go at players after the ball's gone in the net, and you're thinking, Emery, like, you could have maybe done something to contribute to that mistake, or you could have maybe done something to prevent the goal going in rather than having to go at someone after it's happened. And I thought we got past that, and he was kind of showing real leadership qualities. But you can't let this position get to you. You've got to be the inspiration to get the players through it, and to have a go to kind of intimate to the fans in the Leeds game to calm down when things weren't going well, and then to directly have a go at the fans. Again, I don't know. It might have been lost in translation. It might be lack of context. But to me, it looked like he was having a go at the supporters after putting in a stinking performance like that. I might add, he's not captain material. That's not a captain's attitude. It's not good. It's not a good look at all. And to keep this kind of situation up with saying to the fans that they need to bring the atmosphere, they need to do this, they need to do that. Why don't you do something? Why don't you start putting in a performance? Why don't you start inspiring the fans to actually sing for you? He's let it down. He's let me down with that. It's really, really got to me that, because you can't be doing that. You cannot be doing that. These people play the heart, like, all the cliches about the money and all that sort of stuff. But to put in a performance like that and then start having to go at the players, you need to have a word with yourself.
Yeah, it's I don't know what happened. I don't know what was said. I don't know whether something was said to him and it was like harsh. I don't know if someone was abusive. I don't know. And you can argue you need to walk away, your captain, and people are frustrated and you've just seen a stinking 2-0 defeat. So I'll pass judgment mildly on this, because obviously we don't know the context of what happened. But it isn't a good look. If it's just criticism and frustration from fans, and he needs to just do that and give it a fist bump and then walk off. Because you think about it, we obviously had all the debacle with Emi Martinez, didn't we? When obviously he was in one of the leadership positions at the club, and in the end he obviously got taken off him. Obviously flirting with the teams and all that kind of stuff going on. So you think that Ezri's now captain with John out of the team, and you just don't need it. We've had a bad enough performance anyway. You just don't need that kind of situation happening. It annoys me in some ways, because it's become a talking point, and the talking point
should be the performance. Yeah,
should be how honking we were in that game, shouldn't it? That should be. Yeah. But instead, it's like, let's talk about this and that. Like, if anything, I bet they wish it had been a really bad VAR decision. And another thing as well, what the hell's Unai doing? Going only 7 minutes, only 7 minutes. What? It's 98 minutes, the minute in the first half of the second. Not enough to beat the fucking bottom team in the league. Is 98 minutes not enough? I mean, listen, maybe there should have been more injury time, but come on now. I loved about him. I loved
the worst straws that you can imagine.
I loved about him and the club over the last few years. We've been accountable. We're not going to.
Kev, you don't have to keep qualifying. I'm not qualifying any criticism of the players or the manager with, they've done brilliant to get. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. They don't deserve it.
I wasn't saying that. I was just saying over the years what they've done is they've qualified it by saying, like, we're good, like, we're not going to moan about decisions, and all of a sudden you've seen Vidagani putting out the odd tweet about how unfair it is, and it isn't fair. It's a crock of shit, right? And Unai moaning about, like, time wasting and what's going on. I'm thinking, we've played this insipid, boring, negative, uninspired football. We've looked like a worse team than some of these teams that are relegation fodder right now, and you're moaning at the ref for not giving enough time. Come on now. I think he's better than that.
Yeah. Pops gets a treat. Says Konsa started to believe his own hype. Just needs to focus and play his football. Stu, a Wolves fan in peace. On paper, I was shitting myself looking at the front line. Shocked how easily we kept them quiet and nullified the threat. Still thinks we'll finish in the top 5. Fair play. I add fair play to Wolves as well. They were better. They wanted it more. And they started to knock the ball around. They started to look more threatening as the game wore on, more and more and more. And yeah, they fully deserved the win. Absolutely fully deserved the win. Pop gets a treat. Says, I think we're all frustrated. Problem is, let's be honest, we don't have the answers. But the manager should have the answers. And you've just said that. Arguing about only 7 minutes of injury time. In these post-match interviews, saying that we were excellent in the first half, and then we just dropped off the 30 minutes or so in the second half. The lack of the starting lineup, the kind of insistence that he wants to play these players into form, the speed of the changes that he makes. He used to make changes at halftime. He used to be really decisive with his changes. That seems to have dropped off a bit at the minute. The kind of incessant talk about needing the fans and needing this and needing us to be behind the team and all this kind of stuff. I guess the rallying calls as well, just to see him more and more desperate at the minute. And I'm just not liking this version of Unai Emery at the minute. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah, well, he's got to show what he's all about now, hasn't he? And he's done it before, and I'm sure he'll do it again. And I just hope it doesn't end up being a damp squib end of a season, and then he ends up departing, and it's what could have happened. And there's almost a bit of a negative sort of tinge to his Villa spell, and I'm a bit worried that Lille isn't going to be easy. Man United and obviously now past us. Liverpool are breathing. Chelsea aren't too far behind. They could beat us on Wednesday, and then it's really dig in and see what you can get. There's so much to play for this season, but Unai now really needs to earn his very, very handsome salary now, and he needs to get this team doing something else, and he has to use all of his managerial skills. But you can't be doing the same thing over and over again. There has to be changes on Wednesday. Something's got to be different. We've got to try something. He's been very good at working out managers in the past, and Rossini has got an embarrassment of riches to work with at Chelsea. We can't forget that. We have to remember that they've spent a boatload of cash, as have a lot of these teams, and we haven't. So it's not going to be an easy game. And of course, they're missing Neto now, but they've still got some very, very good players. If we turn up with a similar sort of team, even though we're at home, I don't fancy us. I really don't fancy us because the form is so bad. So I don't know what he's going to do, but my worry is with Unai. We see the same thing every week. It's an hour before kickoff. The team news gets announced. Someone posts it in one of their group chats, and you're thinking, is it time for Abraham? Is Maatsen going to start? Is it going to be Buendia and Bailey in? Oh, that's the team. Like, that disappointment cannot be there Wednesday. He has to do something now. If he can't spot it, for me, Wolves has to be the turning point. It's been a crescendo now going down. Is it a descendo? I don't know what it's called. Can a crescendo go both ways? Someone tell me in the comments. There's been a dip, obviously, from the turn of the year, and your Brentfords and your Evertons and all these different teams and all these performances you've had, but Wolves has to be rock bottom. That has to be the line. I hope there's a big inquest on Monday, training, the fist pumping, and they work on some new things, because crikey, there's plenty to play for still in this league this season. Plenty to play for, and obviously in the Europa League, but we've got to get a bit of confidence back. Yeah,
but I feel like actually I'll come to some comments. Marzi said it's the only era all over again. LH Waste says IH Waste 483 says that post-match interviews seem more like damage control. Yes, and Weston says not shaking hands as well with the opposition manager isn't a good look either. Looks like a bad loser. I totally agree. I totally agree with that. And just with keeping it on the Unai Emery front as well. Like, I know people are talking in the chat about him, you know, whether he'll be here next season, and kind of it gets into those conversations as well. But just in terms of that kind of run ending, this run ending, it needs to come from him. Like, he needs to be the one that initiates the change in tactics, or the change in approach, or the change in personnel. But it just doesn't seem to be registering with him. Like, are you confident even in him even contemplating changing the tactics? Because it has to come from him. Like, the book stops with the manager. Like, we've got Unai Emery sort of, faithfuls that will be 100%, and you can't say anything about him. But then when you look at it, the tactics aren't changing. And I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. The tactics aren't changing. The personnel isn't changing. The signings that he's made have generally been terrible. The transfer record has been woeful. So at some point, the book has to, the responsibility is with the manager.
Yeah, it is. And look, we don't want him to be calling out players in the media. He needs to be managerial and maintain that. You were giving us all the credit to win the league potentially. I was believing it myself, and now we're in a fight, and we've got we're not, shouldn't really be in this position. We're not favourites, and all of that is truthful. And we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I would imagine, from everything I've heard about him, he's going to be absolutely seething, but he's got to take some responsibility, because he's the one picking some of those players that he's effectively throwing them to the wolves, isn't he? Literally throwing them to the wolves. Yeah. I think he's got enough pedigree in his managerial career, and he's got enough quality to work with in this club to turn it around. He's done it before. He'll do it again. We've had bad spells under him before, haven't we? We've particularly at the start of the season, but there's just so much riding on this right now. A lot of people have thought we're going to absolutely waltz this Europa League, and there's some decent teams in there. And if you're not on it, if you've got a team in a Europa League knockout game playing for you, where you've got at the moment Leon Bailey, Amy Buendia, Douglas Luiz, Ollie Watkins, the form that they're in, you are absolutely hoping. You're hoping to get lucky. You're hoping to take it to extra time and see what happens. Defensively, I think defensively we've been all right. We're not shipping loads of goals. The Wolves' second half, obviously the second goal was because we were attacking. But if he changes it and he gives those players a couple of games and it still doesn't change, then then maybe we'll have to think again. But mate, we just need you in John Mack at least, don't we? We need a boost.
Yeah, we thought we had Tammy Abraham should be the boost. He was signed as the boost. Like, why sign him for 20 odd million on a 4.5 year deal if you're not going to play him? Like, that was going to be and whether you partner him with Ollie Watkins, or whether you play him instead of Ollie Watkins, that was the boost. We knew deep down that Luiz and Bailey weren't going to be the boost. They were kind of fill gap players. We know that, but we thought Onana would be able to step up and be that leader that we wanted him to be. Now, obviously, isn't true, but Tammy, and to give him his dues, whenever he's played, he has been. He rescued a point against Leeds for us. He technically scored the goal against Brentford. So he has been that. I just don't understand why he hasn't been playing. That to me is Luiz has come straight in and he's stunk the place out for most of the games. Why hasn't Tammy been playing? I just can't. And that has to stick with the manager. That's the manager.
And there's another option we didn't mention earlier on for the Buendia position. You could actually play Tammy up top, Ollie wide. You could have, say, Sancho, Tammy, Watkins as your front three, with obviously Rodgers in behind, and you could have Barkley and Onana or something, or Bogard and Onana, or Bogard Barkley. If Luiz isn't at it, you've got options that you could change. You could. I think Maatsen, with how poor we are tap wise, Maatsen is a must at the moment for me. He's an absolute must.
You could go 4-4-2. You could play Dino at left back and Maatsen at left wing.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
You know, so there's loads of things that could be happening. At the minute, the players have been poor, and like I said, the 2 or 3 players that we've singled out, Konsa should be playing, obviously, and he's been singled out for a different reason. But Buendia, Watkins, Bailey, even Louise, they shouldn't really be playing at the minute. They should not be playing, but they're being asked to play in the same way that the players that they're replacing, who they aren't as good as, they're being asked to play in that role and to produce the same results. That's not going to happen. And then you've brought in Tammy Abraham to provide a spark up front, and you're not playing him. That's the manager. That's on the manager. I'm sorry, that's on the manager. And his track record of signings has been terrible, absolutely terrible.
It's been terrible. Yeah, it's been terrible.
I'm not saying it by any means like Emery out or anything like that, but the blind faith in Unai. And I said it at the start of the season, he had to take some criticism for the way that we started, the way that we were playing. And we gave it time. We said, look, and he asked for time. He actually called the players out against Sunderland. So why isn't he calling them out now? Like, why isn't he saying that the performances aren't good enough? So yeah, he has to take. If he can take the praise, if we can give him the praise, he has to take. We have to be able to give him the criticism and not get this shouted down about, why are you criticizing Unai? You shouldn't be doing it. It ain't good enough at the minute. It's not good enough.
Yeah, it's not. And interestingly as well, Lewis put in the comments as well, talk about Bailey and how Gesson and Ramsey are doing it. I mean, right now, isn't it mad to think that Gesson and Ramsey would be adding something to the attack? Ramsey, I think, obviously was always good for us generally. Maybe his numbers weren't quite there, but at the moment, you'd be buzzing to have Evan Gesson on the bench, wouldn't you?
Gesson, Marlon, and Ramsey. I mean, as I say, I think he's the one bright spark at the moment with Newcastle. It took a little while to get going, and Marlon can't stop scoring. Gesson scored vital winning goals, maybe playing in a different position and, getting the best out of him. I still don't think he's a particularly good player, but
would we be better if we had those and didn't have Bailey, Louise and Buendia? Players we brought back in. We've let those players go out for PSR. We brought those players back. I mean, maybe the maths and the financial, mathematics work that we had to do those deals for whatever reason, but would we be in a better or worse position?
What if we had Gesson, Marlon and Ramsey?
Instead of Bailey, Buendia and Louise?
Well, certainly Ramsey, we would have been in a better position, but I don't put that at the manager's door.
Certainly Marlon. Nor do I. I think Marlon.
Marlon's probably the one, but I didn't think Marlon was great. I'm not saying it but he offered something that was more bullish. And in a game against the Wolves, a game against the Brentford, who do like to put men behind the ball, a shoot on sight or a kind of bulldozing type player to break through the lines is probably what we need right now. And that's where I think Marlon would have been better. Gesson, I just don't think.
I agree. Gesson was terrible for us. I think Marlon would have been good in a 4-4-2. He would have been good in a 4-4-2. I don't think he trusted him obviously as a 9. And yeah, it's just our luck, isn't it, that he goes and looks like prime Lionel Messi when he moves to Roma straight away. But yeah, maybe the maths where we either needed a Watkins replacement because he's not confident Watkins that he truly trusts as a number 9, although he hasn't trusted him so far, Tammy Abraham. And Marlon wanted to move apparently because he wanted to play more football. So sometimes these things have to happen, but it is frustrating, isn't it, when you see these other teams? Because it wasn't that long ago we were saying, look at these players that when they leave the Villa, they don't go on to do anything, do they, these players? We're not saying that anymore.
I don't know what to do. And then just to round off the show, we wanted to talk a little bit about the upcoming game. We'll probably do a bit more of a preview on Tuesday, but Chelsea at home. And you've kind of touched on it. Maybe a team that are in real contention with us, a night game, bit more atmosphere. Villa maybe in that game as underdogs. in that sense, could put the ingredients together for Villa to actually turn it around and get a win. I don't see it at the minute, but I just, it could be that the fans are actually up for this one because the expectation might be lower, and we can really, put an intimidating atmosphere. Maybe the players will throw a bit more caution to the wind. Maybe Chelsea, because Chelsea will come out and try and attack, it will leave more space in behind. But the quality at the minute isn't there, I don't think, for Villa to exploit those gaps unless something is changed. Have you got any shoots of recovery to give us, Kev?
Well, listen, I've had enough of this miserable chat tonight with you, and I've got a lot of love for you, Rich, and a lot of love for everyone watching. But I'm sure we're all the same now. My weekend's been ruined by Friday night game. It's either made or ruined, isn't it, by your team playing on a Friday night? The shoot of recovery is this, right? If we just accept the painful fact that Man United are probably going to likely finish ahead of us if the momentum goes as it's going, and Liverpool, let's be honest, are probably going to catch us. I mean, I'm not being negative there. I'm just saying there's a reality in terms of form and everything that's going on, right? So if we accept those situations as being probably quite likely, then we've got 5th spot if that happens, right? But Chelsea are chasing us. If we can get a win at home under the lights, chilly March evening, under the lights, we'll be 9 points clear of Chelsea. That's just, let's just say Brentford don't go on this crazy run, right? 9 points clear at this stage of the season is a significant lead. For us to have. So there's a big opportunity there, despite everything seemingly going to turn the pan, for you to maintain a 9-point gap to what would be Europa League position to where you are in Champions League positions. This has to be a cup final for us now. It has to be treated a cup final, but not in the way we've treated fixtures like this in the past. So this is a game that we have to win. We have to win this game, momentum-wise, otherwise. And we have to put to bed the ghosts of Olympiacos and Crystal Palace and Man United. And it has to be one of those games when we say, we know we need a performance tonight, and we need a performance tonight. And we have got to get beyond the boys. I mean, if we go a goal down, we've got to stay positive. The fans in there, even though the atmosphere has obviously not been great at times for a number of reasons. And he's got to make the changes that we need to make to give the team a boost. And we just got to win that game, mate. We've just got to win that game. And that will, do you know what? We'll be a lot calmer if we get 3 points on Wednesday night. And it will feel like, a bad spell. Maybe we're on the other side of it. But I don't even want to think about it if we lose that game. We lose that game, and rather than being 9 points, they're 3 points behind us. And we got
and at some point, I think it's more the performance. I want to see a performance, because even after the Brighton win, and I was saying to Brad, we've had those 3 games: Bournemouth, Brighton, Leeds was 5 points from 3 games, which on paper, yes, you'd be asking for more points and what have you with the potential level of opposition, but it's not terrible. It wasn't terrible. And then you think, well, we beat Wolves, that'd be 8 points from 4 games, 2 points per game average. You're back on it, but this is the 5 points from 4 games, losing against Wolves. It brings into sharp focus the draw against Leeds. And then even the win against Brighton was a scrappy goal right at the end, which was a poor performance. I just want to see a positive performance. I want to see Villa get out of the blocks fast in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, get the crowd up for it, get the crowd on side. That has been I'd say 60, 70% of the problem, not half of the problem. We've just started games so sluggishly and trying this controlled possession and wait into the second half. Like, it's difficult for supporters to get up for the game. It's difficult for supporters to then raise their levels, when they've had 70 minutes of boring passing the ball across the back. What happened to the Villa that would be 1 or 2-0 up inside 20 minutes? Give the fans something to shout about. That's what you've got to do.
It is literally carpe diem time for this team now, these players, because I think I've said this a few times over the last couple of years, but you give yourself a chance to be going down in history as an Aston Villa player, or you're a player that, how we feel about the 0-0 spell. Oh, I quite fond memories of that, got to meet Mr. O'Neill himself, and it was a thoroughly pleasant experience. And we had some great moments, and we had obviously an FA Cup semi and a League Cup final. But ultimately, it was a failure in terms of what that squad probably should have done with the talent that we had. We don't know how long we've got Unai for. It's been a magical spell mostly the last 3 years. We need something to show for it. We really, really do, because otherwise, as we've seen, if you get these financial struggles sorted, you can have real long-term sustained success. And we know PSR is a joke, and we know the Man City's and the Chelsea's got to capitalise when the rules were slightly different. But to do that, you've got to produce on the pitch. And is it easy? No. Do we have injuries? Yeah. We've got to suck it up. We've got to try and make the best fist of it that we can. Because if we can get in the Champions League and we can win the Europa League, what a season it is then. What a season. If we end up finishing 7th, get Conference League and get knocked out by Lille, when we were looking at potentially winning the league in February, then that is a huge disappointment. It really is. And look, no one ever said it was going to be easy. There's a lot of good teams in this league. We've seen that right now. I think at the moment in the league, you'd probably back a lot of teams to get results. You know, I mean, Wolves obviously did really well against Arsenal earlier in the season, and Leeds have been doing really well, and West Ham have upturned a bit, and Forest can have the odd moment, other than Spurs, obviously, who are horrendous. But like all the teams in the league, you could fancy it. So there's not going to be some easy games for some of our competitors.
No, again, I don't want to look at that. I want to look at Villa and how we're playing and what we're doing at the minute. I don't want to be in a position, and we've been too much in a position, and the players and the manager have forced us to be in this position where we're looking at other teams' results and they've dropped a point there. And the problem is we haven't been able to capitalise on those defeats because we can't win these games to do it. So I do agree. I take your point. I just want I want a performance, right? I just want a performance. And I hope that they can do it. And as you said, it's carpe diem time, and they've got to show. They've got to give us something to shout about. They've got to step up to the plate. Yes, it's a pressure situation. I think Roger's talked about it, but only they can get us through it. And that's it. That's it. At the end of the day, that's Rich, it. They've got to do it.
Rich, do you want a swashbuckling performance and we lose 3-2 at home to Chelsea? Or do you want an absolutely honking, revert to type the last few weeks' performance and we get a 1-0 scruffy goal in the last minute?
I of course, I would do that, but I don't have any faith in that being able to be produced again. You know, against Chelsea, I think they'd be too good to allow us to do that. So
we'll see.
Of course, I would want a scrappy 1-0 win. It's win at all costs, of course, but. Yeah, I just want us to go out a team and really if they want the crowd on side, that's what they've got to do. They can't just keep whinging about the atmosphere when they're putting turgid football. Can't expect fans to be patient and when Konsa and Mings are getting 80 touches per game and Watkins, despite all his criticisms, Rodgers is getting like 12 touches per game. It's just baffling. But I'm ranting. I'm going on. We'll leave it there. Big performance on Wednesday. That's what we want. Like you said, Kev, carpe diem. The players need to seize the day, and we'll go back to watching the world go around, and everything will be right with the world, of course. And Kevin, his crystal ball can see her future Villa win.
Okay, I'm going to do it now because everyone's been asking for it. Crystal globe. We're not live, are we? Because this would be really weird if we were. What is the score going to be on Wednesday night? It's going to be 2-1 to Aston Villa, and Ollie Watkins and Tammy Abraham are going to score. Come on,
there you go, Mystic Kev. Mystic Kev has said it. Yes. Everyone in the chat, thank you for watching. We had over 200 of you watching. We're just on YouTube at the minute. I'm trying to get sorted out with X. We'll be back live on X as soon as possible, but we're always going to be live on YouTube. So do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. I know I've got 6,500 on this one. I have got a new graphic. I will upload it very soon. We're only about 150 away from 7,000 subscribers. So please do help us hit that milestone. We'll be back on Tuesday for Fans Forum / Chelsea preview, and we'll obviously have hopefully had an Unai Emery press conference to discuss any potential players returning or highlights about any or insights about any players coming back, I will be on the watch along on Wednesday as well. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Thank you all for watching. And as always, win, lose, or draw, remember, we'll follow the Villa.